had the nice house, the fancy car, all the stuff, yet on the inside, I didn't feel happy. I had 2 young children under the age of 5. I would travel to 2 countries a week, London in the morning, New York at night. I didn't really question whether it was worth it. It was more how much longer could I keep it up. I was ignoring all of the signs. I was literally operating in my head, not in my body. My lungs lit up like a Christmas tree. I ended up having sarcoidosis, which is a rare autoimmune disease. No known cause, no known cure. I went from like having a huge team, being in demand, to not being able to stand up long enough to even kiss my kids goodnight.
We want people to slow down before they break.
Yeah, rest is actually a strategy. You need to be selfful to be selfless. And if you're going, I can't do that, that'd be too selfish, or I don't have time for that, there's another story going on here.
Just before we start the show, wanted to let everybody know that the Reconnect to Self retreat is open for October. It's the 23rd to the 25th. That means places are now available and you can secure your spot by visiting the website tracyquayle.com. Tracy, what can people learn on the retreat?
Emotional regulation techniques. They're going to go back to their younger self and connect up with times in their life where they haven't been able to really process emotions, and we're going to do breath work to help to release those stuck emotions that have been sitting in the body for many years, looking at how to love yourself, how to care for yourself, how to just stop and slow down, giving you lots of practical tips that you can take away so that when you get back home, you can add these things into your everyday life. It doesn't have to be that you can always go away for a weekend, but you can take these tools and tricks back and have them balance out your normal world.
So we've had people who been dealing with breakups and separations, people who are just overworked and burnt out.
People that feel lost, don't know themselves.
Don't feel like they don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
And there's testimonials and stuff on the website if you want to check it out and see how we've helped people. But if you've been listening to the show for long enough, I think you'd be pretty keen. So, limited spots. I think we're limited to 10 people. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you want to find out more, head to the website. Okay, on with the show. Welcome everyone to the Reconnect Self podcast, the show that helps you slow down, look after yourself, and ultimately rediscover what brings you joy. My name is Scott. I am your host. I'm also a filmmaker. And as always, I'm here with my wife, Tracy, who is a counsellor of 20 years, a qualified breathwork instructor, and certified psychedelic assisted therapist. Hello.
Hi.
You notice I did a new intro.
Yeah, mixing it up after 50
episodes. Well, I just
episodes.
feel like I kept the original intro just said rediscover what brings you joy, but we also help people slow down and look after themselves.
That's true. I want people to slow down.
Yeah, so I thought I'll add that to the intro.
Good choice.
And I think today's guest is a perfect example.
Yes, it's probably fitting that it's on her podcast.
Yes. So let me introduce her. Okay. Fleur Marks spent 20 years in senior leadership at one of the world's largest advertising agencies. She was a high performer by every measure, a Maori woman raised to be strong, built for endurance. Then a rare autoimmune disease and cancer put her in what she describes as the waiting room of death. She had no choice but to stop, and in that forced stillness, she came face to face with who she actually was without the performance. Her book, The Overachiever's Reset, which is a really, really good read, is what she built from that. Fleur, welcome to our podcast.
Wonderful to be here. And I was just thinking, for overachievers, hearing the word slow down is not an easy thing to hear. It was sort of the word I avoided the most, or the two words, I should say.
It's kind of, your book really sort of appealed to me because I related to it quite a lot. Mm. But when I was reading the level that you were performing at, I was like, even at my peak, I don't think I was going that hard. So I thought a really good place to start is and there's a section at the beginning of your book where you talk about what a typical day looked like. I would love to sort of describe that to our listeners, because I just want them to understand the level that you were running at, because it was insane.
Sure. So this is what I would have described pre what I've been through as my peak of my life in terms of my top of my game. So I was what I considered at that point my definition of success. I had it all. I had spent most of my life striving to achieve, and what that meant was that I was running a region. I was actually for a communications industry for an agency, looking after American Express across Asia Pacific. I had two young children under the age of 5. I would travel to 2 countries a week. In the morning, I would do London. I can't remember which way around it went, but London in the morning, New York at night, because it was American Express. So there was kind of 2 head offices, and then I would do Asia Pacific during the day. And I literally was on 24/7, and I had a really supportive husband who was the at-home dad taking care of our little kiddies, helping prepare my next suitcase. So when I had to run in, and I was literally going to London for the day, flying back, like I was always on a call. I was chasing my tail all the time. My to-do list was ridiculous. I was very young. I was often the only senior young woman in a room. I was well above my years in terms of the rooms I was sitting with, in terms of CEOs or country managers of American Express. And so I was just the queen of busy. I loved what I did. So it's really important to mention that I actually, the creative industry is perhaps, and I know, Scott, from your film background, that it's just the most brilliant thing, being able to create ideas and see them come to fruition. So I loved that. And I actually used to describe myself as, wearing either an ambulance or a fire engine hat, depending on which country or what situation I was going into. So my signature was to go in and fix and solve the impossible. And I never really slowed down. I'd go on holiday, and of course I'd get sick on the holiday because my body suddenly had a chance to rest. I was not present to anything in my life, yet on the outside I looked like I was killing it. I was achieving, I was providing for my family. I was the main income earner. We had the nice house, the fancy car, the trips away, the great wardrobe, all the stuff. Yet on the inside I was drowning. I was overloaded. I was wondering how I was ever going to keep all of this up. I thought I was one deadline away from complete and utter failure. I didn't really think I was that successful. I didn't really take any of it. I just kept thinking I needed to be better. So I was very hard on myself. I had very high standards on me, only set by me, but I was chasing it. And, I think there was a point, there was moments when I did have those sort of really, I guess there was a whispering from within that was coming up, typically around the 4 a.m., waking up, worrying about everything. What am I doing? I didn't feel happy, yet on the outside it looked like I was, it had everything. And I was just wondering how I was going to keep it all going. And, I felt like the world was on my shoulders as well, because everyone depended on me. I didn't want to let anyone down. I had 2 little children too that needed to be cared for. And I just thought that way. I didn't really question whether it was worth it. It was more how much longer could I keep it up. And
did you share that with anyone?
Go.
Did you share that with anyone? Did you share that with your husband, that you were feeling that way, or did you just really keep pushing on through and keep it to yourself?
Not initially, because I thought sharing it might seem like I was failing. And, I thought, well, other people make it look so easy, right? And this is what our world is like. And this is before social media.
The irony is, I bet you were making it look easy as well.
Yeah, others would have thought you were. Others would have thought she's killing
performing.
Yeah,
totally.
But I bet most people are like that, and nobody shares about it. And I think that's one of the themes that runs through the book is vulnerability, which it took you a while to get to that point, but
totally did. I was a slow learner.
One of the things that resonated with me, because I've lived it as well, is you talk about being physically present but not actually mentally present, and specifically around your kids. And I've had many times when the kids were little, like a lot of my things that I went through with stress and anxiety and stuff was about 10 years ago. So I'm definitely on the other side of it. But I remember times where I would be at a kid's birthday party or something. I'd be physically there, but mentally not there at all. Like I didn't feel like I was present. And you talk about that quite a bit. Like how did that, like, did you notice it was happening at the time?
I was sort of aware, but I don't know if I was owning up to it. I think I knew I was trying and trying to be present, but I couldn't stop the noise in my head, basically, in terms of the next thing, the to-do list. Like, it's kind of that scenario I still remember, swooping in, like by the time I got to work at 9 o'clock, I'd done a marathon practically. By the time I went to the gym, got the kids ready, dropped them off. And I remember that sort of kiss moment at the school, literally on the phone as I'm walking back from the car, to the car. And so I was kind of always skipping to the next thing. I was always pre-anticipating. I think that was partly the role. That's what I needed to do in my job, was to constantly anticipate, because it was a role that was full of lots of challenges and
there is
fixing.
Actually one challenge in particular. So even though I am a filmmaker, I didn't become a filmmaker until 40. I spent 20 years in marketing and communications.
Oh, okay. Hello, fellow.
Yeah. So
Your people.
You know the world.
some of it on the agency side and some of it on the client side. And I definitely preferred the client side.
I bet.
Because I got a glimpse of, because I just want to paint the picture of how high pressure the agency world can be. And particularly for you, running all over the world, doing pitches and getting new clients and solving problems. And I think you only literally mention it as the word Vodafail.
Yes. Oh, that was the Australian.
Did you work on the vote when Vodafone just shat itself?
That's right. That was when I was actually, that was when I was recovering and going through chemo. I did that.
God.
So as that brand was in failure, so was my whole life. I'd lost everything at that point. So I literally was showing up in my fancy pants suits, trying to keep a roof over my head, trying to keep our family, safe and well, navigating intensive treatment, trying to figure out a brand crisis. It was very...
it was huge.
It was very
public,
big,
isn't it?
There was security guards at doors. It was not an easy brand solve. And, I had a great team supporting me with that. Yet I was, again, trying to be a high-performing sick person, partly because I needed to keep a roof over our head, and we had lost everything at that point.
Wow.
And I was fighting for my life. I just put on a very good show. No one knew. Luckily, my disease is an invisible disease, so you don't look, and you look at me right now, I've just finished cancer treatment again. I've just had an infusion this week. And I don't look sick, right? So I could show up, leave my body literally, and perform. And to get through, but it was kind of like Vodafail and me were in this total brand rebuild at the time, together.
And it was so big, and so for anyone because I didn't realize it was just Australia, but that probably makes sense that it was just, so Vodafone in Australia just almost didn't work. Everyone left.
How long did it not work for?
I don't know, I can't remember, but it was
a
long
couple of
enough where
years. It was a couple
Vodafone
of
actually
years.
just disappeared off the Australian radar. They
Yeah.
had this thing where nobody could really get a reliable signal, and then they just went off the face of the earth for, I reckon, a couple of years. Was it? Yeah.
It took a while to brand recover, to turn the NPS score around. The best thing that came out of that particular experience was my main client, who is now one of my best friends, who happens to be really senior at Telstra now. But she, that was the best thing, because we were literally shoulder to shoulder together to turn this brand around. And I think when you're in crisis with someone, but also she knew my personal life was in crisis. And so Like, what a friend to
Bonded
have as a
you.
gift out of that experience. It was horrendous, but we had war rooms, and it was definitely, the agency was under a lot of creative pressure to deliver,
Yeah.
and um, we ended up getting fired as an agency even from it after all that work. So
Oh my
it wasn't
God.
very
Oh, that'd
fun.
be
But I won't talk about
devastating.
that. I'll get myself into trouble.
Well, we should probably take a little step back. And I was just fat when I read that. I was like, I've never spoken to anyone involved in that campaign, so I just had to ask. But let's go back to your. I guess there would be a point where you just sort of, your body just went, no, I can't keep doing this. And when you got sick, so take us back to that moment.
And was there anything
Sure.
before that? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Tracy, you're probably recognising my unrelenting standard scheme already. Anyway,
Yes.
so my daughter, who was, I think, 5 or 6 at the time, looked up at me with her blonde curly hair and said, "When will I get my mummy back?" And
Oh,
and
darling.
that just about broke my heart because obviously I was not present. And whilst doing the right thing, I thought, by my family, of course, I was trying to be the best mum, the best everything. And so that sort of woke me up a little bit that I needed to make a change. So I moved to Australia at that point to do one brand, one client, one country, to really simplify everything. And that was to work on Telstra. And unfortunately, my body had been shouting for some time. I'd had repeat illness, but never really took the time to explore. I didn't have time to figure out what was going on. I was too busy.
What country did you move from to come to Australia?
Singapore, moved from
Right.
Singapore to Australia, and within 6 months of arriving, the my body was shouting. I actually had to go. I lost a bet with someone. Had to go and do a marathon in France, and wasn't well trained for it because I was too busy to train, and ended up coughing blood, and then
No.
those signs I ignored for another 8 weeks, and then got to the point where someone in the office said, "Look, it's a bit annoying hearing you cough," or like I couldn't get through a sentence. And she said, "Why don't we pop up to the A&E?" And I was like, "Nah, I haven't really got time. We'll go at the end of the day when I've got my work done, of course."
Yeah.
Of course, gotta get that done
so-
first.
Got to get very busy, a lot to do, and I went up to the hospital, and that's when things started to flag. My lungs lit up like a Christmas tree. I had granulomas, so I either had tuberculosis, lymphoma, or sarcoidosis, which I ended up having sarcoidosis, which is a rare autoimmune disease, no known cause, no known cure.
Oh
And at
gosh.
that point, I was in utter crisis. I had the worst case of shingles they'd ever seen, as well,
And that's
because I'd
painful,
just
isn't
been,
it? Shingles are
I'd just
painful.
been, yeah, but I was just bandaging up and
Oh
pushing
God.
through. My mind and my body were not one. I was ignoring all of the signs. I was literally operating in my head, not in my body. And so I had to then stop work very quickly and face treatment and stop work. I had to stop work without any plan or any notice, kind of thing. And
Oh gosh.
being the main income earner in our family, our business model wasn't, our family business model wasn't quite set up for me to not work.
Yeah.
So, but I had to go and fight for my life at that point. And that's when I went through countless rounds of chemotherapy, immunotherapy, tons of steroids, hospital stays, operations,
Oh my
you
God.
name it. So that's when my body was literally in crisis. And I had an incredible immunologist who figured it all out and went, "We can only ever control this. We can't cure this." So things did get under control after about 2 years. But I went from like having a huge team, being in demand, valued, you know,
Yeah.
showing up, doing my thing, to not being able to stand up long enough to even kiss my kids goodnight. Or I just had nothing. My body broke,
You're just
and
depleted.
totally, and it wasn't a quick bounce back. So,
How were you emotionally around that time?
well, I was in complete and utter denial.
Really?
I get that. Like, just for some context, I have I think it's an autoimmune disease as well, and it's invisible.
It's from the advertising industry. Joking.
Well, it's many as so it's a hearing thing. He's blocking
Yeah,
out all the.
hearing and balance, and so
okay.
touch wood, I haven't had a vertigo attack in
Oh, vertigo. Yeah.
in
So,
quite a long
so
time. but
stress brings it on too, right?
can do, yeah, and so there were periods there where I would be incapable of doing simple things. Like I would even find just walking, like I would feel unstable, and doing simple things like cleaning the pool or doing a bit of weeding in the garden. And for someone like yourself who, I just love achieving. I like doing things, even if it is cleaning the pool, then I get a sense of satisfaction that, well, the pool's clean now, like it looks good. So I wanted to ask you when because it strips your identity when you can't achieve.
Absolutely.
So what was the mental side of that, where everything that you were, everything you based your whole life on, your whole identity was
everything
stripped,
gone. My definition of success gone.
Yes,
all that hard work gone. My reward for all that hard work disappeared. My children were afraid. my son was afraid he'd wake up and find me dead. It was not a happy time. It was frightening for all of us. And seeing their mum go from being this capable, strong, fiery, independent, get up and go kind of person to someone who they'd get home from school and the room would still be dark. The bedroom had made it up for the day. I couldn't get up.
Yeah.
So it was a very big change for everybody, and children, their brains don't have the ability to process some of this stuff emotionally. I did, but I think for me, at first it was shame. Like I thought I had failed and done this to myself. So I took a lot of guilt.
Isn't that terrible that you had the shame around that? When you were just trying to just do the right thing for your family and be there for everybody.
How could I let them down?
Yeah,
that was the thing, right? Running through my head, like I failed everybody.
Gosh.
And then, I think that was part of my story of origin, was to, prove, was to be valued and to be worthy, and attaching my identity to success meant I was enough. And so...
Could I just touch base on that? I reckon that's a really good point that you've just made, because often it does come from our family of origin in terms of, how we've gotten that lovely feedback when we've been helpful, and, we feel like we connected them when we're doing the right thing. So then we just keep doing that. And,
we do.
And that just
we get rewarded for it by our society too, right?
Yeah.
For a good girl, or, and for me it was...
no one's getting rewarded for saying, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, mind you, my kids do that all the time.
They do now, thank God.
Yeah, now they do.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, but back then you're just pushing through and you're just saying yes to everything, and you're just being that helpful girl.
Absolutely, and I got praised for it.
That came from your upbringing? That's where it sort of stemmed from? Like, would you describe yourself as a people pleaser?
Absolutely. I was always a performer. I loved attention because I was the youngest in my family. So my sisters were 7 and 8 years older than me. We were I'm obviously a little bit older, but there wasn't many divorced families in my school. So there was a bit of shame because I came from a divorced family. Right. My dad wasn't present to a lot of my life. So every time I had his attention, it was to prove that I was worthy of his love. And of course, and I wanted to be the good girl, and I wanted to be valued. And then I had, a teacher who gave out gold stars every week for the best homework. And I was going to get that star. It was my way. I could flag, my homework gold star around at home and go see, and I was the baby in my family, so I was, held up to be, the good girl to go ahead and achieve, and I wanted it. It wasn't like it was forced on me, but I think I always had both my parents are self-employed. My father is a workaholic, absolute workaholic. Even at 80, he's still working over 80 hours a week. Systemically, I come from a family who are very very tough, very hard, strong, very hard-working family. Yeah. And so I always believed that if I worked hard, I would get rewarded progress, and that, nothing good comes easy. So therefore, keep pushing, and to get anywhere, I needed to be extraordinary, to be considered enough. And so that was kind of the narrative driving me a little bit.
Wow. And I think
You
there'll
know?
be lots of people who can resonate with that. And there was a
Absolutely.
couple of stories in the book that I think do a really good job of highlighting that. One is this two-piece suit, but the other one that I really connected with was when you worked in Tokyo.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you briefly tell us? I'm interested to share both stories, but maybe start with Tokyo, because that's just a fascinating insight into what you were like.
Sure. So my creative directors and I had to spend 5 months in Tokyo, living still in Singapore, but flying in week on, a couple of days a week, supporting the Japan office. And so I did that for 5 months. And I literally would get off the plane, go to the office, go to the hotel, go back to the office, go to the hotel. I went to the most, wonderful city in the world, Tokyo, and I cannot remember one thing about Tokyo other than having an interpreter and being in that office and the hotel. That was it. I don't remember. I don't even
For
remember.
5
So
months.
I didn't even experience it. Like I didn't have one day off to even go or even an hour to go and explore that city.
That's
I was so
crazy,
focused
isn't
on the
it?
work.
That's why I think it was worth sharing, because it's one of
Wow.
those things where you're physically present, but you're not engaging with your environment.
Community.
But you're
in
also
any way.
so much at work that
Yeah.
you don't have time to be doing any of the sightseeing or
Yeah.
doing something nice for yourself. It's just all consuming is this work.
I even had them set up a gym in the hotel room, so I could each week I could have at least exercise in the room at night after I got back.
Gosh.
And you were doing things
But we didn't
like when you were eating, you wouldn't even be tasting the food. It would just be literally
look down, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fuel.
So what a waste! And I sit for silent tea ceremony, a Japanese tea ceremony on a tatami mat in Byron Bay now as a gym membership, like a couple of times a week, just to allow my thoughts to settle and to give myself space. And sometimes thinking I could have had all these beautiful tea ceremonies just to help me regulate through really stressful
In
moments.
proper traditional places, you could have done that.
This is an interesting concept. Do you want to tell our listeners what that tea
Sure.
is? Because the thing that blew my mind is you've been doing this for years, right?
Yeah, well, now.
And the same people are often there. You've never spoken to them. You have no idea who they are. So explain to us what the concept is.
So it's and I'm sure my friends at Cloud don't mind me sharing this, Sam and Josh. So because I live in a beautiful place called Byron Bay now, which is the wellbeing mecca, we have access to incredible experiences because here people, work to live rather than live to work. So that's why I put myself here. And one of the best things that's changed me is something called the Way of Tea. And so there's this beautiful place called Cloud Hidden, which by its name, it's like when you get up in a plane and you get above the clouds, there's only blue sky. And it's about slowing down and allowing your thoughts to settle so the true meaning and perspective can come, so clarity comes. And so it's in a small little room in the industrial estate in Byron. I recommend you check it out. And it's on this little tatami mat, dark room. There's 18 of us, sometimes between 12 to 18. There's a who does a silent tea ceremony. We do about 5 rounds of tea, and there's beautiful music that's very meditative. And as it's a safe space, many people will come and grieve or figure stuff out. Like sometimes I walk into that room and I have 23 voices in my head and I cannot settle. Other times I walk in and sit down on the tatami, and it's not comfy, sitting on the tatami mat for now. You get better. But sometimes I sit down, I just drop in and I'm just totally connecting with my true self. Other times it's a bit of an inner battle, and that just to me is part of it. Other times the tea's hot and you go, oh, and that's part of the journey as well. Oh, noticing the tea, that's all connecting back to your body. And it's part of the practice I do now with my body and mind to make sure. It's how I wrote my book. It's how I've worked out so many of my life problems, just sitting in that room and connecting in with my true self and allowing my thoughts to settle and my clarity, and just things bubble up. They just do.
What a great way to explain it, because I think people don't realise you get so much benefit from slowing down. Like you think you're going to be missing things and you're going to be solving things, you're going to be clearing things. Like you actually need that time to stop and reflect and actually even regroup to go, what's next? Rather than just running from one thing to the next and kind of be in our reactions all the time. Like I love that you're taking that time. And the other thing you're doing is you've trained your body now that's probably why it's at times really easy for you to drop right in, because your body knows exactly what this means. Kind of like when you get a good bedtime routine, your body knows that's that process.
And there's a few things in the book where you reference maybe warning signs, because I think that would be another interesting topic to cover for people who might be in this overachiever's mindset, similar to you and similar to how I definitely was. Tracy's helped me over the years ease back on that a little bit. Maybe we'll start, because I thought what F stands for is quite funny, but you have this thing where it's called the FINE model, FINE. So I assume this comes from like when people say, how you doing? Everyone just goes, yeah, I'm fine. Give me your explanation of what FINE means in the context of an overachiever.
Sure. And it is exactly that. People ask you, how are you going? Fine. It would just be like the easy default for when you're actually not fine. And so I don't know who it was who told me the definition, but they said, hang on, one day when I went, I'm fine. And they went, no, you're not. You know what it stands for, right? And I went, what? And I think it was she said, fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotionally unstable. Sorry if hopefully I can swear.
We're allowed to swear.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I am. That is me. I am so all of those things. And I'm pretending, and I'm got my mask on, and no one knows that I'm just drowning here. And, if you just sort of scratch a little bit under my surface or took a minute and said, but are you really? They would have got the full story. That's where it came up. So smart time someone says they're fine. I go, oh, are you really?
Yeah.
But I think it's so true, because like even when I've been, really struggling with physical health, people say, how are you doing? Fine. Because you just...
Yeah, and I'll say sometimes, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's not. Yeah. He's been struggling lately.
Yeah, you have done that. And then when you do that, I don't even know how to respond to that, because, but I think vulnerability is the key. And so I think it would be good to, like, you've given us a little snippet of sort of how bad things got for you. And then it feels like you sort of went on this journey of, because we haven't even covered the breast cancer.
No, that was a few years in.
Yeah. So we sort of caught you at rock bottom when, there were days where you couldn't literally stand up to say goodbye to your kids. Yep. What happened next? Take us on that little journey.
Well, we lost everything. I had to go back to work to keep a roof over our heads. Did the Vodafail thing. Wow. Did the Qantas rebrand. Just a few brands.
And so you're working whilst still
in treatment,
physically
really sick.
Not in a good place. Yeah.
Literally dropping off to Vinnie's to get petrol vouchers to get home. I looked like I was $1 million. I looked fancy. I was showing up in boardrooms or meeting rooms, convincing. Yet I was struggling to survive financially. We were broken as a family. We had 2 little people who needed both parents, and we were both trying to find our feet. And so I got back to work. My disease got a bit under control after about 17 rounds of chemo. And then, of course, I started to take on more work. And I thought, I don't say this with ego, I say this because I wanted to. I thought I could become a high-performing sick person. I thought I could almost get myself out of this,
You hadn't quite grasped what you needed just at that point.
No. And I went through this whole journey because everyone kept saying you need to just have a green juice, or you need to do integrated medicine, which is great, or you need to go to Bali. I did a big Bali stint, coloniking, juicing, all of the above. And I thought that I'd cured myself. I was feeling better, and I'd taken on an even bigger gig and showed up at my doctors and he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but the disease is now spread to your brain. And when it gets to your brain or your heart for a non-curable autoimmune disease, it becomes pretty serious. So, and I'd failed most treatments at this point. My body, my liver had started to not be able to process all of the treatments. I'd had hundreds of immunotherapy and chemo. I had to have another 6 rounds of chemo that went to my brain.
Oh my
And so I had to step out again from my work life, hoping that we wouldn't lose everything again. Not that we had a house, we were just renting at that point, so we'd already lost our house. And so I had to go take time out of another. I thought I was back on track, so it was a bit of a bump because I thought that I had done everything I could medically with integration. And, I was taking better care of myself. I was practicing self-care. And that was when I stopped work for another 5 months and he said, look, this is as good as it gets, Fleur. You need to really prepare. Things won't be good from here. And so I then had to go through the journey of, doing hope albums for my children, expressing my wishes, preparing myself for
I don't think that gets
what
bigger
it
than
was.
that. That doesn't get bigger than that.
No, it was heartbreaking. And,
Oh,
putting
wow.
together a little, I had like a box of things for the kids, that I wanted them to have at different points. And so I had to accept that my permanence was actually my reality now. And that was when I learned about something called radical acceptance. It is what it is. But then I had to sit with the grief of that. And actually, it was the first time I accept I was going to be trapped or stuck in a sick body. I wouldn't get out of this. And in lots of ways, that me the freedom to process and grieve and I had to let go of the mother I wanted to be, the partner, the life I'd planned for myself, and realize I now need to create the life I can live now, not later. And so that was kind of the wake up moment, I guess. I read what's her name? Bronnie Ware's book around the 5 regrets of the dying, because I thought that was going to be a good one, given that was my, and it was sort of talking about living a life of expectation. So I asked myself, if this is it, what do I want my life to truly be? And I felt like there was this hot breath of I could go, because it was in my brain, I could stroke out and die at any point. And I'd already had 2 significant TIAs, which means I was stuck in the stroke ward for quite 18 days sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
And so I didn't have an answer. If this is it, what do I want my life to be? I blanked. I didn't know what did I want? And I'd spent my whole life giving all of me to everyone, me last. And I just didn't know what I wanted. And I was like, I've got to hurry up and figure this out because time is ticking, right?
And how old are the kids at this point?
They were sort of almost blanked this out, this time frame, but I think they were 10 and 13. So young enough.
Yeah.
And young enough.
And they want your attention. They still want you to be part of everything.
Well, teenage daughter, right? And so that was when I realized that for me, I needed to come back to this guilt and shame thing, which, thank goodness I had an incredible therapist, and she sort of talked about self-love and self-compassion and self-acceptance as my first step forward. And that was when I realized I needed to do that inner work, the real mindset work of understanding who I am, what's driving me, what's that look like in terms of my behaviors and how I was showing up, and then what were the costs, and what I wanted, what did I really want. Took me a few months, or 6 months to be specific, to figure out, because I didn't feel I was able to give myself permission for that at first. And through self-love, I went, you know what? I'm going to give myself permission.
Yeah.
There's so many questions I want to ask. One thing I am interested in, I know I'm going backwards, but we jump around a bit on this podcast.
Fine. I'm with you.
Because we've talked before on this show about stuff. I use that within inverted commas. And so you had a very successful career, had the house, the car, all of these things, the nice clothes. And
all
then
the
it
tick
all
boxes.
got stripped away from you. And again, I think that comes back to identity. How did you feel when all of that got taken away from you? Do you think that was a turning point, or was it not until you started doing this work with the therapist about self-acceptance and self-love? Because I'm just fascinated, because we try and teach our audience that stuff is just stuff. It doesn't
matter. Like when we lost
happy.
everything, I mean, when my, alleged definition of success was stripped, literally overnight. Well, it was a very shameful process for me having to, no one talks about the bank stuff, when you've got when they come for you, and you're sick and I didn't choose to be sick. We didn't choose that situation. And so I've done a lot of work with banks trying to help them with how to be kind in those moments.
Nice.
Oh, I love that.
But I think for me, there was a moment earlier, to your point, Scott, earlier that came up where I realised that if I had my health, I had nothing.
Yes.
And without my health, because I couldn't ever get it back. So I think that was the biggest loss to start.
Yep.
And then it was really understanding that with my children, because I had this high expectation of what a good mum looked like and what I thought the perfect mother did. And, it was letting go of those expectations of myself. So there was a story where, my daughter had observed me being strong, and I thought that was what I needed to show up as, strong and capable and, and she never really saw me cry for a number of years, in fact. And so she didn't cry. And so I needed to teach her that it was okay to cry, that actually being vulnerable. I thought I kept that private, cry, of course, but not with her seeing it. And so allowing that less perfect me to be seen by my children, or there was a scenario where, I would get up after a chemo day and I had this belief that you had to make had this belief that wasn't serving me. It was ridiculous. And any parent out there who's got this belief, let it go right now. That to be a good parent, you need to have, healthy lunchboxes and no packets was kind of my small thing. And so I get up and make the school lunches and think that was my bit I could do whilst I was sick, that I could at least make the lunches. Yeah. And I'd be struggling to get up. I was sick as a dog. Oh. And I'd be like, putting it together, and that, I would try to get it done before they left. And they'd come home and they wouldn't eat their lunch because they were too busy or it was too healthy. And I'd be like devastated.
All that energy that you took.
Because I dare you not eat my lunch boxes anyway. And someone said to me, why don't you just write the nice little note and just be done? Like, that's enough. And so it was sort of that introduction of just being me and not trying to be this role or this thing that I put myself to try whatever definition I'd set up for myself that was not really serving me or my children in the way that it was intended. And they much preferred a present mum who knew their friends' names, or who put a few packets in with a beautiful note. It was simple stuff, but it was that sort of, those were little glimmering moments that came in, and then eventually I started to realise, hang on a minute, that now I accept I might not get my health back.
You said there that, and something that I've thought about a lot for the last couple of years is your health is everything. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. And because there's going to be a lot of people listening who are overachievers, high performers, who have perfect health. What I want them to take away from this is that those little moments that you have full access to, and we talked about this earlier, when you're physically present but you're not mentally present because you're thinking about this or that or whatever that, for work, lean into the little moments. And I think you mentioned micro moments in the book. It's being able to make lunch for your kids. That's amazing. I want people to focus on the smallest possible things, because I tell you, if those things get stripped away from you, like I went for a walk around the river with my mum one day, and it was just a normal footpath. But for me, that thing was rolling all over the place. Like I had to really concentrate on right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, because I was so dizzy. And it made me really realize it's the simplest little things that you take for granted every single day that are there for you. You have full access to them, yet you choose not to be present to them because you're thinking about this other tiny thing, which I did a LinkedIn post about this the other day. Will that shit matter when you're 80? Like this thing you're worrying about right now, is that going to matter when you're 80? That email to this person or whatever it is, the little...
Or how you worded that thing.
Yeah, the crisis at work, whatever that... None of that shit's going to matter when you're 80. And that's the point I want to ram home. And unfortunately, for I think both of us, it takes having your health stripped away from you to realise what truly is important. And it's the little things. So I just wanted to ram home that point because obviously...
And just to build on that, Scott, there is actually some neuroscience around, unplugging your brain. So unlike your phone that needs to be plugged in to recharge, your brain needs to be unplugged. So the science is 10 minute by 3 breaks. So, let me say that again. 3 10-minute breaks a day is enough to allow your brain to recalibrate, to reset, to recharge, to regain clarity. And if you're back-to-backing in terms of meetings or rushing thing to thing, I mean, I've started even driving with no music on in the car just to allow my brain a chance to rest, or, making a cup of tea and not looking at my phone for 10 minutes or sitting in the sun and just, and it's hard for overachievers to sit still. It's actually hard to be. It's that being thing that we often feel we need to touch something, do something, or we're so outcome-led that we can't take the moment. And I just keep saying to my coaching clients, take the moment, just 3 moments a day, permission to just be, or even 1 moment, just to 10 minutes, because 10 minutes is achievable. If you can't find 10 minutes in a day, there's something seriously wrong with the way you're managing your time.
I agree with that. And you know what? We had a guest once where she turned it on people and was like, well, what are you doing wrong? Why have you got a life like that? Like she didn't see that as being like an achievement thing. She was like, you've got a problem. Yeah, you've got a problem if you can't find. And
if you're that attached to outcomes.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think, no, that's a very good advice, that take those moments to stop.
My daughter, as a, I guess, 12-year-old, I think she said this, you need to be selfful to be selfless. And if you're going, I can't do that, that'd be too selfish, or I don't have time for that, there's another story going on here. Because what I found was when I did take those moments, I actually had more to give other people. And I also got my perspective back. I stopped reacting. I stopped
you're responding, you're responding rather than reacting.
Exactly. And so, it was a different way of being.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so powerful.
I could guess who that guest was. Was it Donna?
Yeah.
Just because of your impression of her.
Yeah, she was an amazing guest. She was very animated, and she'd lean right into the screen. I said to everyone, "Don't listen." Yeah. She had these big red glasses, and she'd lean into the screen and have these big facial expressions. She was hilarious. But yeah, her whole premise is around what can we take out, because we've got a addition bias where we're constantly adding in and adding in. So even what you're saying, stop, just stop. That's the taking out. That's the don't.
I think I know who that was now.
Yeah, Donna McGeorge.
George.
Yes, she was the MC at my book launch last week.
Isn't she great? She's fabulous.
It's funny how people are all sort of interconnected.
I know, we've had many guests now that know each other.
Yeah.
She stops me sometimes. Just stop it. Stop it. She looked at my marketing plan for the book launch and went, right, we're slashing and burning. You're going through stop it.
See, she's already taken things out. She's she's subtracting.
She is the queen of that.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
Yeah. And there is simple ways that you can do what you're talking about. I know you mentioned, I think I listened to a podcast that you're on yesterday, and you talked about a cup of tea, and Oprah Winfrey has talked about this, and I think I've said it on the show before, but I think even the simple act of making a cup of tea can be one of those moments where you slow down and turn your mind off. And so, for example, you're looking at the tea bag, and as you're dunking the tea bag, just concentrate on the tea bag as you're stirring in the sugar. I do honey. I don't do sugar, but as you're stirring in the honey, like just watch the spoon. Like there's little...
Warm the cup with hot water first. Just FYI for a good cup of tea.
Oh, really?
Warm the cup, rinse it out with the hot water. Yes, that just gets the tea ready to be
is that from your Japanese
yes,
tea?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, I might start doing that. I didn't know that.
You'll love it.
So there's lots of little, Tracy, obviously you do grounding where you take your shoes off for 5 or 10 minutes on the earth a few times
Having a
day.
dance, having a boogie.
Yeah, getting
Tracy's
in your body,
friend.
getting in your body. Yeah,
Playing with your
big on that one.
dog, all of it's so much having a chit chat, but just being like.
yeah.
And that reminds me, I'd also heard you say something about your breath
Mm.
on that. I think it was on the podcast I was listening to.
Oh,
Do you do
okay.
breath work, or are you just talking about having a few deep breaths during
I
the...
do. I do breath work. I do it as a part of, again, Wonderful Byron, part of my gym program. We do the first 30 minutes of our strength training is breath work, hot and cold therapy.
Oh, wow.
So, and then we do the strength training, so our muscles and body is more receptive.
How great to do that before the actual
I know it's
class.
part of the class.
I love it.
So yeah, I do that, and I've actually been doubling down on breath work more recently. I know we're going to get to this, but I had a moment in the last 4 months where, but as a part of the book launch, that I had another health scare where. Sorry, do you want me to talk about this now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We don't have to be linear. We can go all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not sure quite how to bring this in, but I'll bring it in. When I got sick, I got back into living my life, got ready to be prepared to go, regulated what I wanted in my life and changed my entire wish list of what that looked like, and then spent the last, I don't know, I think it's been 8 years since I wrote If This Is It, What Do I Truly Want list, which involved moving to the sea, not initially Byron, but to Palm Beach, and then sort of a bit into that journey, I got breast cancer for the first time, and which was a real blow. And then I got it this Christmas again in the other breast. And so I'd literally been planning my year ahead with the book launch coming. I'd spent, the day in room with people like Donna, coming up with my word of the year, and I had this word magnificence, and I rock up to my usual 8 years later breast cancer mammogram. And my oncologist said, it's back and it's the other boob, it's a new primary. And so it was the exact same week, 8 years later. It's kind of
The
unreal.
synchronicity of that.
I know. And so I had to work out how I was going to do the book launch whilst navigating cancer treatment. And so I literally had to have surgery. I had the biopsy that day, surgery 4 days later. I had to fly home pretty broken with breast cancer surgery. My children had another Christmas with their mum, I also had heart trouble after the surgery, so I had to have a heart reader put in, a device, a loop into my heart. And so I've spent the last 4 months whilst navigating this book launch actually also having to do radiation. And I just had my first infusion not yesterday, 2 days ago, which has been horrendous. So it was sort of, where was I going with that point? A different journey this time, but it's also again reminded me of how important that no matter what happens to you, it's important that you choose how you respond to it. And I think my breath work has had to come into play to allow me to regulate. So as I felt overwhelmed about, wanting to launch this book beautifully, of course, my high standards are there. And so I've had to really, the cancer counsellor has been incredible with really reminding me of the power of my breath when I felt like things were a bit out of control again. And so I've been literally practicing every call. I'm getting everyone to arrive and breathe. If I feel it, I'm in a workshop room holding a group and I feel wobbly because I'm not quite 100% health, I will then get them to join me. And the amount of people that just, as you would know as a breath worker, it's just like people are just leaning in right now just for a moment to breathe and take it. So I've just had to really double down on breath work over the last 6 or 8 weeks particularly. as I've just had to face up to everything all happening at once.
But also how beautiful, because when you're having, this horrible news and, probably brings back all the other things that you've gone through, all that energy that's in your body, and that's not going to be a great energy because of the worry probably in there, you being able to calm your breath, breathe it out. We actually release 70% of our toxins through our breath too. So it's actually really, really helpful, healthy for us when we are actually breathing properly. Whereas most people are chest breathing, which gives a signal to our brain that we're actually not safe. So you actually take in those moments to bring your breath right to your diaphragm and really focus on that and block out everything else is so simple, and people just dismiss it. Like, in fact, it's almost like people roll up their eyes at me on the couch when they want to talk about breath work. But I'm like, this is the so easiest thing I can give you. Look, you can pay for session after session if you like.
And it works. It really works if you practice it. And it doesn't take long. It takes less than 2 minutes.
And then I'm a hummer too. So, as soon as you're humming and toning, you're bringing on that vagus nerve, which you are as with the longer
You
exhale
tap
anyway.
up as well? Do you tap?
A little bit, but not full on. But I'm going to be teaching people about that. We're going to have a kinesiologist come on we're going to do a retreat day, and we're going to teach people those different modalities. And again, these are free, easy, transportable.
Within your control.
Yep, in your control.
You can do them in the bathroom, in between meetings.
Yep, in the car. Yep, anything like
in the car.
So we've covered a lot in this show, and there's so much more, and I highly recommend people get the book, because if you resonate with this episode, there is a lot to learn. There's so much we haven't covered. But what would you say some of the key learnings are for you, having gone through everything that you've gone through with this?
Sure. So many, because it's been a decade of learnings. Probably the first thing I learnt was I had to understand the cycle I was in. So what was the belief system driving me? What were the behaviours that were pushing me to operate in a certain way? And then what were the costs? So I had to get a real understanding of that cycle in order to get out of it. And then I had to do the inner work. So for me, and may not be for you, but I had to work out what were the real mindset shifts that were going to allow me to live the life fully as I wanted it now. And for me, it was being enough already, like really truly owning
that was
and
one
accepting.
of my major notes was that
that was
enough.
a big one.
There's three types of enough.
That's right.
Do you want to talk about those?
Sure.
That's really good. Yeah.
So, and again, this is often for overachievers, is that we're striving towards something constantly, and it's often because we don't have enoughness within. And so it's around I am enough, I have enough, and I've done enough, which if you're attached to your outcomes, the done enough one, like ticking off your to-do list, if that is what is driving you to achieve beyond a reasonable level, because you want to get through that list or have a zero inbox or whatever it might be that's motivating you, it's understanding and actually thinking, well, actually, how different would my life be if I truly felt that it was enough already and that I was enough already, that I'd done enough. And there's days where I've had no energy, where I've had to go, okay, today one thing is enough and that's going to be okay. And so that was that. And then the other thing was letting down my mask, the perfection, the pleaser, the prover, the performer one. Yeah. And letting people in. And when they did ask me how I was, rather than responding fine, I would go, look, this is a moment of struggle. And, I'm trying to find my feet and I'm not sure what's next. And I really need your help to help me get through this, or just because everyone would say, what can we do to help? And I'd have to be really specific, and rather than going, fine, don't worry, we're all good, go, actually, what would be really helpful is if you could help make some school lunches or whatever it might be.
Can I say that is so helpful as the person that wants to help, though, because we all offer.
Get specific.
But if someone can actually say, could you just drive my kid to school, or could you just take this, or could you do this? Easy. I can do that, or I can't do that.
You can do that. But just send me a text.
And I'll figure it out.
Once a week. Like, okay, I can do that. And so being really clear about that and being okay with it and asking for the help, because when you ask for help, people actually want to help.
They want to help.
It's a total surprise.
And you talk about this in the book, where one of the school parents,
yes, Lorraine.
I think you actually said, no, I don't need any help. And then she pushed you and then ended up with this whole roster of people making meals and dropping
I would
them
like
off.
that, everyone.
Yeah, Tracy, we would both love that.
In moments of need. And I think the last one was the other mindset shift that really helped me was letting go of control. Big one. I was a control freak, and that was part of my achievement motivator was that if I had everything in control, it would all, I knew what to expect. It kept me safe.
Yeah.
And so when I couldn't barely control my breath, I had to realize that actually loosening the grip on that and just actually thinking about what can control rather than trying to control everything just freed me up. So I did the mindset inner work, which really started to shift something from within and allowed me to then think about, well, how do I create a system for as long as I'm here, how do I actually live the life I want? And so I then started to think about, well, how do I achieve excellence without exhausting myself? How do I define success my way now that I know this other way could be better potentially? Or what impact can I make whilst I'm here rather than trying to do everything? So I kind of then had to work out, and it took me a while to figure out my system, what works for me. So things like tea I know I need that to regulate me. Things like exercise. If I don't move each day, it's not good for my body, but it's not good for my mind, more importantly. Or, 4 meetings a day when is enough. And so really sense checking, but then also trying stuff on in terms of making it daily practices, not big, life changing, get up at 5 a.m. every day to go to the gym is never going to stick for me. It's just didn't work. I had to go, okay, well, 3 times a week's reasonable. And if I do it at 8 a.m., I'm more likely to go.
Yep.
And the more I did that, the more I felt it was worth it and I enjoyed it. But if it felt like a chore or life was hard enough, I didn't do it, or I set myself up to fail.
Yeah, and it's you checking in with yourself to go, what is the time that works for you? Like if I use the gym example, I used to go to the gym many years ago, decades ago, at night time. And now I have to do it in the morning because if I have to think about it, I will not do it. So if I can just
make it
jump
easy.
Jump out of bed, not even think about it, and I'm there before I know it, the thing's done. But again, I think people they might try it once and go, oh, I'm not a morning person, and then they leave it there. They don't go, well, actually, don't do the 6 a.m. class, do the 8 a.m. class if that could work, and just mix it around a little bit. So
try stuff on.
Yeah, that's I like how you said that, yeah.
And then the final, I guess, big lesson for me, so figuring out the inner mindset work, what's driving and pushing you to extremes or costing you, then setting up a system to actually sustain how you want to show up or achieve in a way that you can keep at it, just, and in my case, it was within a body that had limits. And then the last thing was really understanding that in the messy and hard struggles, because we all have stuff, we all have, mine was a health one, I hope, but we do, we divorce, we lose our jobs, we have sick parents, our children get sick, whatever, all the things that happen in life is what makes us human. And for me, it was in the messy, scary, dark, unknown moments was where the gold was for me. And in that I found my meaning and purpose and sense of what mattered. And so trusting and knowing now, even after, I'm well beyond my expiry date, and I know that's partly because of my mind, well, mainly because of my mindset, but it's also because I trust that I've got, what I need within me to get through whatever comes, even this recent one. And then the thing I did this time around, this particular health journey was, and I did do it actually through chemo and things, was I choose sequins over being Superwoman. And so this time, as I faced this, how am I going to launch a book and want to do it amazingly and know my, natural, overachiever was going to come running in and try and be Superwoman. I actually chose sequins this time to enjoy the ride. And I actually put my hand up and said, can anyone help? I need some help. And so I set up a sequin squad to remind me of the light and the joy. And there's 50 people who said, hell yes, I'm coming to help. And they've all been in my corner, wanting to help get this book into as many hands as possible. But more than that, I didn't feel as alone in the journey over the last 4 months because these incredible humans have said, I want to help you. I want to get you through this. And makes me emotional even talking about it.
I got goosebumps when you said it, and I actually got tears in my eyes as well. So I must be
Yeah.
feeling that across the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I just think that that's so special.
Yeah, and it's meant I can enjoy, like even with the book launch, I could enjoy the moment and I could actually take the moment and celebrate it and not
And
feel
you're
the weight
sharing
of
it
it.
with these people that really want the best for you and
And
are
they all
there
came
with
dressed up
you.
in sequins, They don't even like sequins.
So for people who don't understand why you've called it the Sequin Squad, it's because
Thank
you
you.
love sequins, right? Like
I
that's
do.
like your trademark kind of
Well, it was an
thing, right?
intentional choice I noticed, and I saw it again when I was back in the chemo ward this week, that there are people who choose to become the patient. And, you can show up and you sit in the chair for the day. And had 23 rounds of this and they're long days. And I decided I was going to dress up in sequins because I wanted to fight for my life. I wanted to live.
Yeah.
And so that became my little signature was that, it's shine bright, darling, like just, if I'm going to sit in a chair, I'm going to
You look fabulous.
make it shine.
Yeah.
And so they thought I was a
Yeah.
bit of a weirdo, but,
But again,
make
that's
it
that
like
mindset.
a celebration.
That's that mindset. You were going in there going, this is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have it be drab and boring and depressing.
I'm not going to wear the
and-
gown. I'm not
Yeah.
going to become the patient.
Yeah.
This is a part of my body. It is happening. I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
And it is hard, but you can choose to shine
And you'll do it your
with,
way. That's your way.
yeah, yeah, that's me tap dancing my way down the aisle of the chemo ward.
I love
Yeah, it's
that.
beautiful.
And since then, it just reminds me to, and it's also the nuance of just do you, right?
Yeah.
And own your magnificent self because I haven't got the energy to change that.
Yeah.
Just gonna do me.
Does it make you want to go back and grab that Fleur that was pushing on through and doing all these things, or even the one that thought that there was shame when things were happening and the feeling of failure? Don't you want to just go back and grab her and kiss her and just tell her, I've got you and it's okay? And
I do often.
yeah, because I just think that's the poor darling.
Oh, she was, I had a visual of her which was very malnourished and concrete, little girl in concrete boots. Pushing on through with these big heavy boots, bony
And that's
knees.
the healing. That also for
Yeah.
everyone, that's kind of the healing is going back, and we do this on our retreats. We go back to that younger self and we acknowledge them. We acknowledge what they've been through, what the messages were that they were running on and the coping strategies that they were using. And we also just tell them that I've got you.
Yeah, I got this
you.
now.
Yep.
You
I've
don't
got
need to worry.
Yep. And I've got
I
the
got
lessons
you.
from it. I've got the learnings from it, and
I'm
here
learning.
with you. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that you're doing these things your way, and again embracing who you are along that journey.
And remembering to play and not be too serious about it, all right?
Joy.
Like,
We need the joy in life. Yeah.
Yeah, and not
Hence
take
the
it.
sequence.
It is short.
Yes.
It's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now your days are, and it's interesting to think about, because it's been a bit of a journey for you over a long period of time, and now with your book launch, the bitter irony of having to go back into chemo.
Oh,
Do you feel
I'm
like
just having
you're-
infusions, not chemo, thankfully.
Oh, right.
But
But you
Good,
did
good,
say it was
good.
worse than you
it
did
was
just tell.
worse this week. Yeah, I think it was brutal. Yeah, it was not fun.
So do you feel like every lesson you've learned along the way now, because I would imagine launching a book like it's a big deal, right? You've spent a long time sort of bringing this baby,
It's a lot.
what is it, metaphorical baby into the world,
Yep.
and you want to
She's
celebrate
birthed
it.
this
and-
book.
Yeah, you want to do it as big as you can. Have you found that this time you're much better at? I was going to say curbing the expectations, but I'm not sure that's the right phrasing. It's more about just being
Catching
gentle
them.
with yourself
Very.
and what you're capable of doing. And
But I think
and
you
then
did because that's why you asked all the people to come and
Yeah.
support you.
Yeah, I think this, and even just celebrating the last 2 weeks of launching the book with 2 big parties, which was fun. Getting the frock on and getting all glammed up and feeling like death on the inside. I just finished radiation. Actually was radiating with pain. But I actually felt very grounded and very anchored into the moment. And I acknowledged that, yeah, this hurts right now. It's a little tough. But I didn't wallow in it. I just I asked for help. I had surrounded myself with incredible people. I got my husband to support me extra over the last month, to be in my corner, to, literally wheel my bags at the airport because I'm so sore. But also just to really try to enjoy the ride a bit, right? Like I'm very, of course I want the book to be a success, but it's not at the cost of me. And I need to acknowledge I am going through treatment and I need to take care of me. So I think it feels different. It feels like I can take it in and be with it. And you might remember I had a saying in the book, which just keeps coming up for me every day at the moment. It's a twinkle in one eye and a tear in the other. It's sort of that juxtaposition of, whew, going to lie down for radiation daily. Oh, going to launch a book, like that. Yay! Oh, yay! So it's that, and all of it's wonderful, and that here I am still fighting, and I'm still blessed, and every day I can get up and show up, I'm doing it and doing it differently, but I still have to catch it. I still have to catch myself constantly. It's a daily discipline, not a thing that ever leaves me. So it's not something I can be cured from, I don't think. It's something I need to continue to practice.
Yeah, and then it's like strengthening a muscle. You get better and better at
all
that
the time. Absolutely. And I can just reset like that now. I can just bring myself back and I have this ridiculous post-it note, here still on my desk. What can I do within my limits today? What can I do? And I just
what a good
sense check
reminder.
every day. What can I do? Okay, how's the body? How's the mind? How are you going? What's important today? What matters? What can you let go of?
That right
And
there.
just do that.
Who's doing that? No one's doing that. I have people that push on through, that get on with their busy day. They need that post-it. They need that somewhere
I have
going.
it here every day.
Yes.
So what can I do within my limits? If you're tired or exhausted, that's not the day to push through.
That's right. And I say that to people. I say, if you had a kid that went and did exams, that's not the day that you're asking them to clean their room and clean out their wardrobe and da-da-da. Like that, the biggest thing was they did the exams. Now we're having the balance on the other side of that. So for you, if you've had a busy meeting, a busy day, taking the kids to sport, whatever, that's not the day that you're doing the extra stuff. Like look at your limits and look at what you can balance out and stop overloading yourself just because you can.
Yeah.
Like that's where the burnout comes from, just because
100%.
you can. In fact, I think one of the things that I read, with Scott's notes was around your resilience kept you going. And as much as people really pat you on the back for being resilient, that actually led to your burnout or your condition, because just because you were capable of doing it, dragging yourself to do it, but
pushing through.
But you could push through and do it. And I have friends that are like that their body's not great, but they just push on through and they just, unless they break, they're not going to stop. I can just see it.
I guess that's the theme of this show, right? We want people to slow down before they break.
Yeah, rest is actually a strategy.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you think about it from a business point of view or from a human sustainability, it's a long game. Like whilst life is short, it's still a consistent thing you do every day. And if you don't take care of you, no one else is going to.
That's right. No one goes, oh, here, go lay down now. Go do such and such. Like they don't. Maybe I do to you sometimes.
You do it to me.
Yeah. He does not do it in return.
And it's sometimes scary to think, because I used to think if I slowed down, I'd get behind. And if you feel like you're overwhelmed and overloaded, I think the thought of slowing down is actually terrifying because you think you're not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, or pile
and
up.
the reality is, if you take the moment or slow down just for a little moment, like 10 minutes, that actually allows you to get clear on what matters, to make a better decision, to see what really you need to do, or to go, this doesn't matter, and just let it go. So it allows you to have clarity.
Yeah. And it's that checking in. And I think we all come from our habits. And look, I might be the queen of talking about self-talk, and I do a lot of it, but I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I'll quickly mention one time I was out with my friend and I said, what's your husband doing today? And she said, oh, he's actually not very well, so he's staying in bed all day. He was in bed yesterday as well. And in my head I thought, oh, nice for some. Anyway, I noticed myself have that. I appropriately responded. I said, oh, how terrible, blah, blah, blah. But really in my head,
you're thinking,
nice for some. How lovely to lay in bed all day. Anyway, so on my drive home, I thought to myself, what was that all about? Like, again, I'm checking in with myself.
What are you yearning for?
Following up. And I thought, well, I'm not 100% today. Like, enough to go out for a walk with my friend, but I wasn't feeling 100%. And I said, well, why don't you just stay in bed today? And the other part of my brain was like, no, you've got washing to do. You've got to get stuff for the kids' lunches. And there was something else I think I had on my list. And I said to myself, nope, you don't need stuff for the lunches. That can get you through a couple more days. And then you don't need to do the washing. There's enough uniforms there. Again, same thing. But I realised that the pressure was coming from me. Scott wasn't saying to me, oh, actually.
No one else expected you.
Yeah, no one. So the challenge, so again, if I didn't slow down enough, if I didn't notice that little, nice for some, I wouldn't have checked in and gone, what's that all about? And then gone, why are you doing that to yourself? Because it was no one else doing that to me. It was totally me. So I think people don't give themselves that chance to reflect and go, what am I doing it for? And is it actually something that needs to be done today? Or is that just my routine or just... it feels good to get that done and it's that tick of the box, but would it be better to actually rest and then do that on a different day or ask for help? Scott could have done it, you know?
Yeah. So did you jump into bed?
I think I did challenge it all. I don't think I jumped into bed, but I think I gave myself permission to not do those things that day. It did actually turn it around for me that day.
Good. Yeah, because I think sometimes just surrender.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was really just
the list.
Yep. And like you said, you've done enough.
You've done enough. Enough
me
already.
Moving my body, connecting with my friend, that was enough that day.
Yeah. So I say to myself, enough already, darling.
Yeah, I love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, kindness
I
in there
reading
as well. Beautiful.
I think that's actually a good place to end. Enough. You've done enough already, darling.
Yeah.
Fleur,
Wonderful.
thank you so much. That was such
My
a
pleasure.
great show. Now, if people want to get the book, let me hold it up to the camera.
Which I definitely should.
You
Yes.
got one? Yes,
I
I've
have
got
an
one if
advanced
you need it.
copy. Yes.
Oh, yes.
We're very fancy
because
with
I've
our-
had this
out
for
now.
a little while.
Yes.
I think I got it over a month ago. The Overachiever's Reset: A Better Way to Succeed Without Losing Yourself. I've read it. I highly recommend it. It's very good. Where can people find it?
Online and in all good bookstores, and also at the airports if you're travelling.
Oh, you got in
At all
the airport.
Yeah, perfect.
Donna McGeorge was desperate to get into the airport. She told
Yes,
us
she's
about.
she's next to me, and I've also got it on my website if anyone wants it, Fleur Marks. But I think you should support the bookstores.
Yeah,
Awesome.
how beautiful.
I will put a link to your website as well, just in case, in the description. And is there any social media you'd like people to?
Fleur J Marks. I'd love you to follow me and see my journey and top tips and things that I'm sharing always.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure to spend this time with you, and I guarantee that our listeners would have got something out of that.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Yeah, and good luck with your health journey.
Yes,
that's,
absolutely.
Still ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that you're in the right place for being in Byron Bay to try all those different natural therapies and treatments. And I've
got a nice afternoon. I've got muscle whisperer, then I've got tea.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
And then I've got a glass of vino.
And we've already talked about kinesiology, which
Yes.
you might go and explore as well. So I love that you've got all those at your fingertips. So that's perfect.
Yeah,
for
I love
your health.
I live in the Mecca here of well-being.
Brilliant.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Flo.
Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much.
Take care.
Well, she was quite an amazing person. What a journey she's been through and still going through.
I know. What a life. Like to go from being, high flying and up there in the corporate world, doing amazing things to suddenly having your health just take it all away and literally lose everything from not only your health, but your house and your security and
your identity.
Massive.
It was
massive
huge.
learning. She was amazing though. I could have talked to her all day.
Yeah, I agree. I could too. And I think, the key takeaways is just
listen to your body, slow down. Stop pushing on through.
Yeah. And take stock of the tiny little things that you've been taking for granted your whole life, because Fleur is living proof that once those things are taken away from you, they're the only things that you'll want back.
Yeah. And it's through contrast that we have appreciation. So don't wait for the contrast. Have the appreciation now.
This is the wake-up call.
Yeah.
And we talk about this quite a lot with people on the retreat, don't we?
Yeah.
Like,
Don't wait for something to happen. Like, start being proactive now and start tuning in and start making those small changes before you have to make these massive changes.
Yeah. It reminds me of one chat I had with one of our participants in the latest retreat. And I was just telling him, like, I find joy in the smallest little things. And that's something I've been working on for the last few years. And that might be something really, I know we've mentioned this probably before, you take great joy in looking at clouds.
Well, the sky. I like the sky.
But
and if
clouds,
it's a cloudy
you
day.
used to talk about clouds,
I do.
specifically clouds.
My kids bang on about clouds because...
We get these, we're lucky enough in Perth to get amazing sunsets often. And all of this is free. It's there right in front of you. If you just take a moment.
Look up.
Yeah.
Literally look up.
Yeah.
And just take it in. Yeah.
So I think that's one of the keys to the episode, and listen to your body and slow down and enjoy the simple things in life. Okay. Great job today. Well done.
You too. Thanks.
Like, subscribe, and most importantly, share an episode with your friends. If one of these episodes resonates with you, share it with your friends. It's the best way for our show to grow and keep us coming back every fortnight to speak with you.
Yeah. I'd actually like to know what people, what their favourite episode is. Like if they could either make a comment or let us know, even, our regular listeners that do give us feedback. What's your favourite episode so far? We've now released 51. Up to
it
today
depends when we put this out.
Today will be 51, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'd love to know out of those episodes, which, guests, which episodes, which ones resonated for you. That would be lovely to hear.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.